The woman who knows where all the bodies are buried just broke her silence in an unprecedented move. Trump's Department of Justice released the full audio and transcript of Ghislaine Maxwell's explosive interview with the Deputy AG Todd Blanche. What she revealed destroys the official narrative and raises questions that go straight to the heart of the global elite. She's calling out the story of the official story of what happened in that prison cell. She's denying the existence of any client list, and she's exposing decades of government cover-ups. Now, for years, they kept her locked away without ever asking her a single question, and now we know why. The most dangerous woman in America just went on the record, and her words are shaking the foundations of power. Wait till you hear this. And while Maxwell drops truth bombs about the elite's darkest secrets, let me share something that'll help you prepare for what is coming. If the power went out tonight, if stores were empty tomorrow, would you be ready? Well, most people aren't, and that's why I recommend My Patriot Supply right now. You can save $100 on their 3-month emergency food kit, over 2,000 calories daily for 90 days. Real meals, not freeze-dried mush. Breakfast, lunch, dinner, drinks, snacks, all packed in sturdy buckets lasting 25 years. Made in the USA, no MSG, no junk, fast, free shipping, 30-day returns, disaster replacement guarantee. When disaster strikes, your family eats 3 delicious meals daily because you prepared. Be the hero. Go to preparewithgary.com right now. But first, we go back to the Maxwell revelations. So this is all big breaking news. Been tracking this story for weeks and weeks and weeks, if not years. Ghislaine Maxwell's conversation with the DOJ raises more questions than it answers. Here is what she told the DOJ. Maxwell says she never saw Trump in any inappropriate setting. She insists that Trump never acted inappropriately or received massages. Maxwell states that Trump and Jeffrey Epstein were not close friends. She claims that Epstein didn't Epstein himself. She says there was no client list. Epstein did not work for any intelligence agency. Sure. There was no blackmail involved. Hard to believe that. Bill Clinton never visited Epstein Island, according to her, but of course the flight logs all tell a different story. Epstein's obsession reportedly began in 2001 after meeting a mystery woman whose name was redacted. Maxwell somewhat confirms that her father had intelligence ties. In the early 1990s, Epstein rented a house from the State Department. Isn't that interesting? Let's check in with this breaking news report.
And he basically but really the top line here is Maxwell never had any type of client list of Jeffrey Epstein's, did not incriminate any high-power individuals. This coming from a well-placed source who's been briefed on this investigation. We're going through that as well. And then not to give our viewers too much information, but the Justice Department today actually handed over a bunch of Epstein-related documents to the House Oversight Committee as part of its investigation. And we know that James Comer just put out a statement, and he basically said that DOJ put out its first production of Epstein documents related to the subpoena, but that's going to take a long time before they put that out to the public because they have to get rid of any type of incriminating information, not incriminating information, any identifying information, I should say, of potential victims, Jeffrey Epstein or Ghislaine Maxwell victims. Martha.
Yeah, this is very interesting, David. Thank you very much. And we'll let you continue to pour through these. We're looking through these documents as we speak as well. At the very top, Todd Blanche informs her that she has immunity. However, if she lies at any time during these interviews, that she would indeed be prosecuted for that. So she's not immune from prosecution if she didn't tell the truth in these interviews. She talks a lot about her father and her upbringing and how she met Jeffrey Epstein in the early stages of this. But some of the news items that are jumping out, as David just said, that she claims that there is no client list. So, you can parse those words and see how much she reveals later on in this about all of that. She also...
Well, I think it's really just, parsing words. Client list, define that. I mean, even in her own trial, there was an evidence marker that declared that there was a black book. There were binders full of names. That's part of the evidence. So, you could call it what you want. They won't. Maybe they won't call. Maybe she didn't refer to it as a client list, right? Maybe they had another term for it, so you could dance around that. But we've already reported on the evidence name. Go back, check it out. We have it on the channel.
Further on in this document, I haven't seen this part yet, but it's being reported that she says that she believes he did not die by suicide, despite the fact that every investigation that we've seen says that indeed he did. She was also asked at one point whether or not she ever saw any massage given to the current president, Trump of the United States, and she says that she never saw that, she never saw that happen, I should say. And as I say, we're still going through the document and haven't reached that specific part of it yet. But this is what's coming in. Let's bring in Jim Trusty, former.
Okay, so that's what we know right now. And 50 minutes ago, this was just posted. The Clinton Global Initiative, started by Epstein and Maxwell, confirmed through Maxwell's own DOJ interview. The Clinton Global Initiative started by Epstein and Maxwell. And Bill Clinton never went to the island? Unbelievable. Quote, I was part of the beginning process of the Clinton Global Initiative, and that was something that I helped with, and that was me, and Epstein may have helped me with them. Maxwell confirms Epstein and her fund and start the Clinton Global Initiative. Mike Benz breaking it down.
Now, we know that this lines up with the exact start of the Clinton Foundation. In 2002 was exactly when Jeffrey Epstein was flying President Clinton around personally as kind of aerial chauffeur around Africa. I think they went to 5 different countries in Africa together publicly. And this was actually part of the process that I think brought Jeffrey Epstein a little bit too close to the sun, was when he was personally flying President Clinton around while President Clinton was setting up the Clinton Foundation. And we know that what the Clinton Foundation was doing was essentially pay to play while Hillary Clinton was making her rise in New York Senate politics and then into the Secretary of State, and while they had all this clout and connections and pull within the Democrat Party, that they could essentially sell U.S. foreign policy to foreign donors and to big corporations so that they could essentially, instead of doing things in the national interest, have the State Department, the Defense Department, the CIA, USAID, essentially twist the governance and policies of foreign countries using the battering ram of the American diplomacy and war and trade machine in order to profit the people who personally paid the Clintons for those favors. And so this is totally in line with what I think is the most persuasive theory of the case on Epstein, which is that he was a money bundler. He helped in the structuring of these complex faux philanthropic influence machines. He was a deal maker, and it looks like he was part of the deal making that went into the origins of the Clinton Foundation, which we're now learning as well. Wow. The Justice Department shut down the FBI investigation into 3 different FBI investigations into the Clinton Foundation were shut down, and the IRS investigation was shut down, we're told now, because the IRS claimed they did not have enough resources to investigate the Clinton Foundation. Evidently, the fraud there was so massive, the IRS's defense to get out of political cronyism is that I guess the fraud was too big to jail. They simply couldn't take it on.
Too big to jail. That's a new one. It is official. Bo Loudon, 60 minutes ago. Bo Loudon is a friend of Donald Trump's son. It's official. Ghislaine Maxwell's audio tapes of her DOJ interview are here. She's fully exonerated President Trump. Listen.
I was with him. He was a gentleman in all respects. I don't recall ever seeing him in his house, for instance. I actually never saw the president in any type of massage setting. I never witnessed the president in any inappropriate setting in any way. The president was never inappropriate with anybody. In the times that I was with him, he was a gentleman in all respects.
Wow. I'm sure that there are people over there in the on the left that are freaking out right now. Diligent Denizen cover-up at exactly 58 seconds into this clip. Deputy AG Todd Blanche blatantly leads Ghislaine Maxwell away from saying Epstein recruited underage masseuses. He writes, your tax dollars are paying to cover up the most heinous crimes against children imaginable. Leading the witness?
He would say, find me a new masseuse. I am the entire opposite. If I find someone that I like, I stay with them. I'm like, I don't want new. He would drive for new. So that is true. And in my effort to find them, I would go to massage spas, like legitimate spas. We're not talking, funky ones that I have. So, if I got a massage from somebody in a spa that I liked. I asked them if they would do home visits. If they said yes, I would ask them to come to the house, and they would see if he liked them or not. But these were people who worked in spas. I never ever checked their age, and I never checked their credentials. So I never asked for a certificate.
What? But just to be clear, you never thought anybody was underage.
I never crossed. Okay. No, that was never my. That was never a drive.
What?
As a part of, and others, to try to find more and more masseuses. What is that? Is that true?
Wow. Never checked their driver's licenses, apparently. Here is the full justice.gov. This is it. This is all the U.S. Department of Justice. Maxwell interview. The transcripts, day one, transcript redacted, all the audio recordings. Yeah, we're going to have to pull these down. And maybe, I guess we have, if the transcripts are already there, we don't need to pull the transcripts, but we could probably do a deep analysis of all these recordings, compare them to the transcripts, make sure they line up. And maybe we could post that to X later, give you some more information. But, okay, Todd is already working on that. Amazing. Todd, are those transcripts, will they save you the time with respect to having to pull all the videos? I mean, I guess if you pull all the videos, you could run them through the transcription service. Okay. So they seem pretty detailed then? Okay. Okay, so more from this insider paper. Ghislaine Maxwell says she never saw Trump in any inappropriate setting. We just heard her say it with her own words. Another one, Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene, posting this. Maxwell says Trump never inappropriate with anyone. Was a perfect gentleman in all respects. And she adds this, that I'll say it again, the Democrats, oh, come on. The Democrats tried to put President Trump in jail for the rest of his life, destroy his business, and take his wealth. And multiple assassins tried to kill him. If there had ever been any evidence against Donald Trump in any of the Epstein case files, the Democrats would have used it against him long ago. President Trump also making that statement repeatedly. Trump's DOJ releasing all the transcripts. We are going through all of that now. Jason Rink posting this 5 hours ago, giving a summary of the day one transcripts. Maxwell states she met Jeffrey Epstein in 91 through a girlfriend and was initially just friends with him. She describes their romantic and relationship as brief, with them sleeping together once in 92 and then not again for a long time. She believed if you slept with someone you were dating, but that wasn't how the relationship was defined. She says their relationship officially ended in 99. She continued to share a bed with him at times, but as friends with benefits, if you will. Maxwell claims her relationship with Epstein was defined by her role as his general manager, overseeing his properties and staff. She was paid for this work, starting at approximately $25,000 a year, eventually increasing to $250,000 a year. She states her family lost all of their business after her father's death, had no money or trust fund of her own, making Epstein her lifeline. She says she was very different financially. He was very different financially from her, and that he paid for her flights. Epstein's business and wealth. Maxwell explains that Epstein told her he started his wealth by helping clients recover stolen money, from which he would take a percentage as a fee. She gives a hypothetical example involving a drug cartel. She names several prominent individuals she believes were Epstein's clients, including Les Wexner, Leon Black, Elizabeth Johnson of Johnson & Johnson, and Glenn Dubin. She says he performed the same services for these clients as he did for Wexner, which included structuring business, managing personal finances, and handling investment strategy. She claims Epstein's business included even minute details, such as drafting contracts for his clients' maids. She denies that Epstein's wealth was based on fraud or blackmail, stating that she never saw it. She also says she never heard him blackmail a client or acquaintance. The Black Book and blackmail allegations. Maxwell denies the existence of a genuine black book or a client list. She claims the public narrative originated from a disgraced law firm lawyer, Brad Edwards, who allegedly created a fake list in 2009 for financial gain and to assist in civil suits against Epstein. She asserts that this fabricated list was used to attempt to blackmail her boyfriend at the time, Ted Wyatt, for $10 million. She claims a book of names, Exhibit 52, from her trial, that's what I was talking about, which was marked by Alfredo Rodriguez, was used to target individuals. She saw Alan Dershowitz's name on it, but doesn't recall seeing Donald Trump's. Maxwell states that she decorated many of Epstein's homes, including his New York brownstone, the island, his Palm Beach and New Mexico residence, and his Paris apartment. She unequivocally denies ever having seen or wired a single house with any inappropriate video surveillance. The only exception she notes is in Palm Beach, where the police installed cameras to catch a butler, John Alisi, who was stealing money from Epstein's briefcase. She denies seeing Epstein or anyone take compromising pictures of anyone. She also denies hearing anyone accuse Epstein of blackmail. Prominent individuals and massage allegations. Maxwell says that she was tasked with finding masseuses for Epstein as part of her duties as his general manager. She claims Epstein got bored and was insistent on having new masseuses constantly. She would find them at legitimate spas and ask if they made home visits. She never checked their age or credentials, but assumed they were over 18. She believes that male masseuses were common in the 90s, but toward the late 90s, she only remembers women giving massages to Epstein. She believes his behavior and desires changed in the 90s when he started taking testosterone, which she claims made him more aggressive. She claims she did not witness abuse of masseuses and that based on her observations, they seemed happy and would return for more, which she found inconsistent with being raped. She names several individuals she remembers who were in Epstein's life, including Donald Trump. Meeting them through her father in the 90s, she found him cordial gentleman, believes she only saw him in social settings, never at Epstein's house, nor did she ever see him get a massage or do anything inappropriate, stating she does not remember asking him to contribute to Epstein's 50th birthday book or him submitting anything. Bill Clinton, she says, was her friend, not Epstein. She claims to have flown with him on Epstein's plane for a dinner where she met her ex-boyfriend, Ted Wyatt. She doesn't believe Clinton ever received a massage because she was on the plane during their travels together and saw no massages given. Prince Andrew, Maxwell flatly denies introducing him to Epstein. She claims that they were introduced through Lynn Forrester and Sarah Ferguson, and their friendship grew when she organized one of Andrew's visits to New York. While this is detailed, Virginia Giuffre, referred to as DOJ redaction in transcript, Maxwell calls her story absolute rubbish and claims the allegations of having sex with Prince Andrew and her London home are mind-blowingly not conceivable due to the small size of the house. She also asserts that the famous photograph of Giuffre, Andrew, and herself is a fake photo and that Giuffre manufactured the story for financial gain. Maxwell says that the first person she believes introduced Epstein to a more aggressive, sexually charged environment with underage individuals was DOJ redaction, a redacted name, but likely a person associated with Epstein activities. It happened in December of 2001. She claims this individual was a self-confessed victim of that, was trained by a pimp, and that all subsequent accusers came through her and her boyfriend, Tony Figueroa. Miscellaneous details. She believes Epstein did not Epstein himself, but was instead murdered in prison, though she has no direct knowledge of who would have done it. She speculates that if it were murder, it would be an internal situation from within the prison rather than an outside party trying to silence him. She mentions her work with the Terramar Project, a foundation she started in 2010 to focus on the part of the ocean outside national borders. After she and her then boyfriend Ted Wyatt broke up, she shut it down when Epstein's legal issues began to affect her. She named several prominent individuals she knew, including JFK Jr., whom she fancied, and went on one or two dinners with, and Alan Dershowitz, whom she met at Martha's Vineyard and remembers seeing at the island. She denies ever seeing Dershowitz do anything inappropriate. Maxwell also names Ehud Barak as an individual Epstein had a relationship with in the later 2000s, also recalling traveling with Epstein, Senator George Mitchell, and his wife to Italy, where they visited the Vatican. She believes the press has been very contaminating and that it's sometimes hard to separate what she has read from her memory. Summary provided by Google Gemini. Thank you, Jason Rink, for that. Let's see here. This is Tommy Vietor. Looks like he's talking with AJ. As people digest the Ghislaine Maxwell transcript, please note that even AJ said she's in prison for decades, so you can't trust somebody to testify who was convicted in prison, from a recent interview with Tim J. Dillon.
Can't trust somebody. You know, here's the issue with that. She's in prison for human trafficking, and you've got these lawyers connected to Epstein saying months ago, Alan Dershowitz, Trump better pardon her. And even before Elon came out and said, hey, Trump's in the list, you're never going to see it, which then has a lot more credibility now because of this. It doesn't mean Trump did anything wrong, but he's implicated. He's embarrassed by it. The issue with Ghislaine Maxwell is she's in prison for decades. So you can't trust somebody to testify who has already not implicated other people, but now that she's convicted in prison, maybe she'll say that I was involved. I'm being sarcastic, but
right.
My point is that pressure mounts for Ghislaine Maxwell to be released to testify before Congress. I am of the thought that full disclosure is the way to go.
Yeah.
You know,
okay, we got some more to get to. I think we got a recording here. Red Wave Press. Ghislaine Maxwell told Deputy AG Blanche in their 2-day interview there is no client list. DOJ releasing transcripts. Let's hear.
That you reached out to me and said that you wanted to speak with somebody from the government about not only your case, but about everything that's been in the media and that's been publicized about Mr. Epstein in your case.
That is true, and I did speak to him, and I did ask him did tell him that I was very keen to talk to anyone, because no one from the government at any time ever since the inception of the case, so dating back to the early 2000s, has ever spoken to me, and indeed I believe ever reached out to me at any time to even speak to me, and that includes up to when I was indicted and prosecuted. I believe that, or I understand, I should say rather, that my attorneys at the time did tell the government that I wanted to speak to them because I was very keen to meet with anyone so that I could tell or have them ask me any question. I've never had any problem just to speak to anybody, and I offered myself, and I kept asking if they would meet with me so that I could talk to them, and for whatever reason, that was not happening.
Okay.
Okay, that's just one snippet of hours and hours of testimony that everybody is still going through. So this story is far from over, but now you've heard her side. The question is, do you trust her? I mean, Jason Rink's breakdown is pretty clear, but the question is, like AJ raises, she's in prison. She'll say whatever she needs to say. If you got value from this report, tap subscribe. My final thought is next. So this interview does blow apart everything that they told us about Epstein's death. Maxwell, his closest associate, says point blank that she doesn't believe that he Epsteined himself. She claims there is no client list, no blackmail material, contradicting what whistleblowers have said for years. And the most damning of all, she reveals that in over 2 decades, from the 2000s until now, not one government official ever interviewed her. Think about that. The FBI, DOJ, CIA, they all ignored the one person who knew everything. Why? because they didn't want answers. They wanted silence. Now Trump's DOJ is forcing the transparency, releasing the actual audio for Americans to hear and judge for themselves. The establishment is terrified because their protection racket just collapsed. So here's my question for you. Do you believe that Epstein himself? Drop a yes or no in the comments. And if you want the truth to keep on flowing, you can support us by grabbing some Next News gear. It's linked down below at shop.nextnewsnetwork.com, where you can trigger a liberal today.